Greetings, everybody. I'm Fire Lotus, and today I'm going to go over two books. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go over two books. One of them I will be interviewing at the end of this month in April on either the 28th or the 29th on my podcast, Fire Lotus the Witch. You can find it on Anchor, Spotify, and Applecast, and most other platforms that you can stream podcast. The first one is going to be BackWoods Witchcraft, Conjure and Folk Magic from the Appalachians, and it's by Jake Richards. This book right here, if you grew up in any southern states and you grew up listening to old wives' tales and, you know, your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great aunt who would tell you to do this and do that and it would heal stuff, this is the book for you. Seriously, this has become one of my all-time favorite books. I am currently reading The Crooked Path and 3 other ones, which I'll also be doing a review on. But in general, the best way that I can describe this book, for one, it's extremely easy to keep up with, but it enwraps you. And what I mean by that is, literally, it's like, imagine if you had distant family members up in the mountains, and you reached out, went to them, and you had one of your cousins kind of show you around each location and like how things work. That's exactly how this book is written. On top of that, the knowledge that is in this book is amazing. He goes over through the quilting hoop, the roots run deep, terrain and culture in the Appalachians, stories and superstitions, connecting with the land, ancestors, living by signs and omens, techniques and methods of the power doctor, spirits of the southern Appalachians, spelling and fortune-telling, tools and supplies, Appalachian candle magic, doll babies, and other trickery, folk recipes and remedies. Seriously, I don't really go anywhere without this book. And I went to the point to where I've actually highlighted some of the pages. And he also has just recently came out with a second book, and I believe he's coming out with a deck of conjure cards, which have not been released just yet. If you hear any weird noise, my neighbor is doing some type of building and construction, so I'm so sorry about that. I read this book in less than a week. It actually took me about a day to 2 days to read it, and I've reread it since then. Hands down, one of the best books that I've actually read probably in the past 10 years. To me, it was almost remembering old stories and old ways that I'd forgotten that I grew up listening to and hearing. I am from Alabama, and one of the parts of, some of my family is also from Georgia, from the mountains. So it definitely hit home for me, but like I said, it's almost as if you went to visit one of your family members and they were kind of walking you through everything. There's so much knowledge in this book that I love, and I also love one of the reasons that he wrote it. And that is because he realized that generations, the following generations, the younger generations, were no longer carrying on these paths. And he saw that they were dying out. And after going through some like kind of personal conflict, he realized that it's either create the book or these practices and paths will just die out. And like I said, he just published earlier this month, he just released his second book. That's kind of like a sequel to this one. I believe it's been pre-ordered. I should be receiving it soon, and I'm also going to read that and do a review on it. I've actually heavily based my craft off of this. And then the second most important book, especially if you live in Florida right now, and there's a term that I'm going to butcher, but I will explain what it is. It's in this book, Southern Cunning, Folkloric Witchcraft in the American South by Aaron, I hope I do not butcher your last name, Orburn. And I'll read you the back, and then I'm really bad at this. Okay, let me read you the back to this one. This is my first review on an actual video, so forgive me. In BackWoods Witchcraft, Jake offers up a folky stew of family stories. Lou lore, omens, rituals, and conjure crafts that he has learned from his great-grandmother, his great-grandmother, and his great-grandfather. A Baptist minister who Jake remembers could rid someone's fever with an egg or stop the blood in the wound. The witchcraft practiced in Appalachia is very much a folk magic of place, a tradition that honors that have seen and unseen beings that inhabit the land as well as the soil, rocks, roots, and plant life. The materials and tools used in Appalachian folk magic are readily available from the land. The ground approach will be often key instinct to witches and conjure folk regardless where they live. Readers will be guided into how to build relationships with spirits and other beings that dwell around them, and how to use the materials and tools that are readily available on the land and where one lives. BackWoods Witchcraft provides instruction on how to cast a working space and altar and make conjure oils and powders. A wide array of tried and true formulas also offered for creating wealth, protection from one gossip, performing spiritual cleansings, and more. And with this, they mention a prosperity bowl, I turned it into a box. I created it when I first got this book, and holy shit. You definitely should check it out. I do believe that this is on audiobook, so you can get audiobook and a copy. And I will have a book list of books that I'll eventually be reviewing in the description below from Amazon, and that book will be on it, so you'll be able to see the price and everything. Southern Cunning. This book right here I love because he is the first person. I do not believe it's in this book. This book right here, though, he mentions one key thing that has changed my entire thinking of the craft, which is, and this is the word that I'm going to butcher, bioregionalism. Basically, it's the specific study and research of your specific area where you live. And the reason you do this is because once you understand how and what is natural in your neighborhood, in your part of the woods, then you will be able to tell easier what is a omen, what is a sign, and what is completely natural. Now, The Crooked Path is the second book that I've came across that actually has a chapter in it as well on how bioregionalism is extremely important. And it is because it can also affect how you practice your craft. But with the Southern Cunning, I love it because it's a completely different outlook on a type of witchcraft. And it blew my mind. It is slightly thin, but I'm telling you now, this book is worth doing. And this is the back. Southern Cunning is a journey through the folklore of the American South and to look at the power these stories hold for modern witches. Through the lens of folklore, animism, and bioregionalism, this book shows us how to bring rituals and folklore into the modern day and present a unique American approach to witchcraft born out of the land and practical application. And he is a Southern folklore witch with a sense of humor and a passion for witchcraft. But seriously, this book is amazing, and I will go over the chapters in it. Search for Witchcraft in the Stories of the South, Omens, Dreams, and Divinations, Language of the Spirits, Protection, Bible and Church Magic, Witch Balls, The Cost of Cursing, Initiation by Spirit in the American South, Making the Crossroads, Calling of the Familiar, Ghost in the Land, Meeting New Spirits in the South, Hi-Ho Through the Keyhole I Go, which is almost jumping the hedge. The Devil's Wife, A Note of UPG, Following Spirits and Self-Discovery. UPG, another extremely interesting term that I have not heard, and it needs to be talked about more. And UPG is basically your personal experience that you have experienced on your path that sets your beliefs and your foundations in. Nobody else is going to be able to experience, but it was a key stage or a key event while you were performing magic that kind of locked that belief in with it. And then you have Death and Ancestors, The Witch Father of the Southern Cunning, Closing Thoughts, and Tool Index. It also actually goes over like a part of Florida because he's originally from, I believe, Maryland or Maine. I want to say Maryland. And then he's moved here. So he kind of like talks about both, but there is a small section of Florida specifically. And it's the first book that I've actually learned, like with all the palms and sagas that we have out here. He teaches you how to make a witch broom with it. Basically Bioregionalism. He's teaching you how to use what you have from the land, which is also mentioned in this book as well. Honestly, if you could only get 3 books, Southern Cunning, BackWoods Witchcraft, and the Crooked Path. If you wanted to, which the Crooked Path is traditional witchcraft, so it's not necessarily folkloric witchcraft, but I have realized that all 3 of these books would go hand in hand if you wanted to create your own individual practice that is not pagan or neo-pagan based, which I was originally. I started out Wicca, and over the years, I've completely went away from that, and in the past 2 years, I've went from calling myself and recognizing myself as a pagan to I am a spiritual witch. Yeah, that'd be the easiest way to say that. I work with maybe 1 or 2 gods or goddesses. Other than that, I primarily work with my spirit guides and my ancestors. If you want to know how to start working with your ancestors and or spirit guides, even if you do not know them, check out the other video that I've done on the 30-day spiritual challenge. That is the #1 step that I do, and I've had multiple other people try it out as well. It does take time. You're setting up a line of communication with you and your ancestors. You're trying to figure out how both of you can interpret the messages that are sent to you. But I'm telling you, you'll do it for 30 days and you won't stop. So go check that video out. It is labeled Spiritual Day 30 Challenge. But with this one as well, he actually goes more in detail in the witch mother and the witch father. Most people, when they read that, are depending on how far you are into spirituality and open-mindedness, most people automatically think of the devil. In some folkloric practices, you will hear the term devil, but it is not the Christian devil at all. Remember, some of these are coming from folkloric stories, primarily Riding the Silver Bullet, or is it Riding the Silver Bullet, or is it Biting the Silver Bullet? And this is also extremely easy to keep up with. Like, it's not an advanced book, but it's extremely in-depth. I was trying to find it. Okay, I think it's Riding the Silver Bullet. I don't think I'm thinking of another book. But anyways, hands down, this book and this book right here have been some of the 2 favorite books that I've read. I have a bunch more videos coming. This is technically my first book review and a recording instead of doing it live on Facebook. By the way, if nobody knew, I go live on my Facebook, Fire Lotus the Witch. Monday through Thursday, normally from starting at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time or through 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and those can last anywhere from an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. We've had one that's almost split off into 4 hours. I will not be doing one Thursday or tomorrow. By the time this video is posted, it will be tomorrow, because I have an interview with also another great book, especially if you're into crystals. Nicholas, I will be interviewing him. And the book is The Crystal Basics, The Energetic Healing and Spiritual Powers of 200 Gemstones. Definitely check this book out as well. I love how he breaks everything down. It's very easy to keep up with, even when he uses terms that I've never even heard of. But he teaches you how to cleanse them, how to activate them, how to program, and also how to use them in daily like life, not necessarily your practice, but daily life. But yeah, that interview will be up. I'll be interviewing him tomorrow on my podcast around 11:30, and then around 11 o'clock, and then it'll be live probably about 2 hours after that. So check that out. And like I said, I do have a date set that I will be interviewing Jake Richards, either the 28th or the 29th of April, as long as everything works out right. I possibly will be having another major interview as well coming up in May. And trust me, when I got that information, I just completely squealed and freaked out for like 20 minutes straight. So, anyways, yeah, that's going to be it for now. I am planning on coming back, making more videos. I know everybody's used to having a camera and all other shit. Yeah, I don't have that. I have a phone. Right now, I have a phone, so that's what I'm using. So that's why you're going to see the little 2 blank spots right here. I'm sorry about that. Audio got better, though. I'm using a microphone. But yeah, anyways, sorry for the awkwardness. I'm getting used to making videos. But yeah, you should check me out on my Facebook, Fire Lotus the Witch, Instagram, Fire Lotus the Witch, and Fire Lotus the Witch podcast. 2 of those. And then if you do have a TikTok, Fire Lotus the Witch on there. I post videos on there like all the time. But anyways, until then, I will talk to y'all later and see y'all later. And I hope y'all are all enjoying your morning, noon, or night. I don't know your life. But anyways, peace.